Greetings, welcome back. So we had 7 games on tonight. They're all done. Let's go ahead and talk about them. And again, board and all the stuff that I do. The funny thing is, when the channel first started out, I didn't do reviews and previews. Didn't do them for about, the first year? Then I ended up doing reviews and previews, and I just put the goals on the board. It's nice, like penalty minutes, and here's what happened. And then there were people saying, well, you didn't really watch the game then. Because, you said this, you didn't really watch the game. So I started taking notes, and it's become what you see before you. The notes are for me. The notes are for me to write things down during the game, so that when I'm doing the review, for all you fine people out there watching now, I can recall, oh yeah, that's what happened. And so that's why there's notes on the board. So if you're not able to read them, it's okay. They're really for me. I think it would be weird if I was writing the notes for other people, because I find that, I don't know, I just think that would be weird. So, all right, that out of the way. This is why we have timestamps. Carolina and Tampa. So, a week ago, there was a lot of discussions about how Carolina was clearly the best team in the division, and Tampa just wasn't very good, and I thought people were talking a little bit early, and so, yeah, Carolina wins early ones, but they don't win this one today. And they match up again tomorrow. So looking forward to that. This series has been fantastic. Early chances for the Bolts. Tampa Bay presses at 4 minutes. And Ross Colton scores in his first NHL game from Hedman and Killorn at 6:43. He is the 9th Tampa Bay Lightning player to score a goal in his first NHL game. Kudos to Ross Colton out of the University of Vermont, 24-year-old. So, yeah, good story there. Killorn then nearly scores at 9 minutes. The Canes get a push at around the halfway mark. We get a long stretch without a whistle during that first period. And this, honestly, these teams are so much skill. It's a joy to watch, really. Power play for Tampa Bay, which was 1 for 8 against Carolina coming into today. This is their only power play of the game, and they score on it. It's Coleman scoring from Gord and Maroon at 17:27, and some fantastic passing led to that goal. So it's 2-0 for Tampa after 1. Second period, the Bolts get some more chances to start things off, and Nedeljkovic making a lot of stops. Nedeljkovic had a very good game again, so he's making an argument that he's an NHL goaltender. There's a lot of that going around. I'll be very interested to see how this offseason goes, because a lot of young guys have stepped in this year, and they look pretty good. Tampa Bay pushes at 6 minutes. Palat, though, would score a goal that doesn't count because he can't push the puck and the goalie in the net at the same time. So that did not make it 3-0. Canes get a power play. There was a shorthanded break for Gord where he shot high. The shots were actually 10-2 with 5.5 minutes left in that period for Tampa Bay. But the Canes then get a push. So Vasilevsky withstands a pretty good push from Carolina from there until the end of the period. Aho had a chance that was kicked out. Then in the last minute, the Bolts get a bit of a press back, but after 2 periods, it's still 2-0 for Carolina, or for Tampa Bay against Carolina. Third period, the Canes had switched up the lines. So Rod Brindamore decides, all right, this isn't working. It didn't work last game either. We got to change things up. So he's changing things up. Tampa Bay had a 3-on-2, which misfired. Vasilevsky denies Svechnikov. The Canes push at around 6 minutes. Aho all over the ice. Just couldn't buy one today. Power play then for Carolina. Killorn prevents a goal for Trocheck. Vasilevsky commits some robbery against the Canes as they continued to buzz in that third period. Fogle denied. And Fogle was denied twice in the third period. Both times looked skyward. Wasn't happy about it. With 3:07 left, they pull the goaltender after calling a timeout. That allows Barclay Goodrow to hit the empty net from Killorn at 19:25. That makes it 3-0. Tampa goes to 12-4-1. The Canes drop to 12-5-1. So these teams are as close as you can get. Shots in this one, Tampa Bay outshot them 12-8 in the first, 11-8 in the second. Then Carolina outshot them 9-5 in the third. Final shots 28-25 for Tampa. Carolina 0-2 on the power play. Tampa 1-1. Nedeljkovic, 25 saves on 27 shots. Vasilevsky, 25 saves for his 22nd career shutout. He has got 22 shutouts relatively quickly. And these teams play again tomorrow. And I could not be happier about that. Busy day and everything tomorrow, but I'm looking forward to watching that one. Although, we'll get to when I do the preview tomorrow. I'm not going to be able to follow games tomorrow the way that I've been able to follow them for most of this week. So, all right, Dallas. That's better. Now, the shots would tell you that it wasn't really that much better, but it was. And the Dallas Stars kept saying, I know what the shots look like, but it's been a better game for Dallas, and it starts early. John Klingberg gets his third of the year from Pavelski and Dickinson at 53 seconds. So first minute of the first period, and they score on their first shot, and it was during a delayed penalty. So things went pretty well for Dallas right out of the gate, which was good because when they actually had penalties, or power plays, I should say, they weren't scoring. Hudobin stops a chance from Forsling. Gustav Forsling's had some good offensive chances for Florida already this year. Stars with some heavy puck pressure. Better defense overall, so not letting Florida just rush through the middle, although Florida did have some rushes through the middle there. Power play for the Stars, it's killed off. The shots were 5 apiece at 12 minutes. And then the floodgates open. Verhaeghe had a chance that was defended. Power play for the Panthers, that lasted 29 seconds. It lasted 29 seconds, turns to a 4-on-4. Lindell had a chance as the power play ends for Dallas. That's saved. And then with 1:15 left, the Panthers end up with a power play out of a scrum that takes place. So, again, the power play has something to do with it, but Florida outchanced Dallas a lot in that first period. A lot of shots, but again, it still felt better than the last game. Second period, shots were starting to get kind of scary. Early in the second, I'm like, oh, there's already 20 shots for Florida. Okie dokie. Hudobin denied Weegar. 4-on-2, Weegar was denied again. Mackenzie Weegar is supposed to be a defensive defenseman. Did nobody tell him that this year? Because he's generating a lot of opportunities at the other end of the ice. Barkov then nearly got one at around the halfway mark. Hudobin denies Duclair. You could see Duclair on the bench afterwards swearing about it. Like he's beside himself. And I've lost count of how many really good chances Anthony Duclair's had that just haven't gone in the net. He's had a lot of them. The Panthers, puck control in the second. Hudobin saves number 30. It's a Strawman shot. And then from there on, honestly, Dallas did a pretty good job. I think there was about 5 minutes left, and the Stars did a pretty good job of keeping them away from the net after that. Wenberg had a chance that was denied. There was a late press, but in the last minute, the Stars get some chances of their own. It's still 1-0 for Dallas through 2, and you don't feel particularly comfortable with a 1-goal lead entering the third. At 15 seconds, the Panthers take a penalty. The Stars get the power play. 2 seconds after that power play ends, Lindell gets a goal from Faxa and Dowling at 2:17. I was surprised at Dowling being on the power play, but I trust Rick Bowness, and in this case, it's not a power play goal, but it's pretty darn close, and Dowling with the secondary assist. Vetrano then had a chance that goes wide. Huberdeau was denied. He was also potentially saying some rather nasty things under his breath about how this game was going. Power play for the Stars. It gets killed off. Then with 5:39 left, there's a power play for the Panthers. There's a goalie pull with 4 minutes left for Florida. And it feels like we're starting to get into coaches pulling the goalies even earlier than normal. So it used to, back in the old days, it was 1 minute. Then it became 2 minutes. Now we're up to like 4, maybe 4.5. Why not 5? So the empty net goal is Kiviranta from Pavelski at 16:30, and that's as he got out of the box. So it was a 6-on-4, and they tried, but Kiviranta, once it became a 6-on-5, he puts the puck in the net, and the empty netter signifies that Dallas does win the game 3-0. They go to 6-4-4, so an important win for Dallas, kind of an authoritative one because Hudobin willed it to be so. For Florida, 12-4-2, they have to be frustrated with, how Hudobin kept him out, but they just have to face him again tomorrow. So Dallas was outshot throughout this game. 17-9 in the first, 14-11 in the second, and 12-6 in the third. Final shots, 43-26 for Florida. It really doesn't tell you how this game went, though. I thought Dallas played better than that. Power plays, Dallas 0-4, Florida 0-3. Hudobin, 43 saves for his 10th career shutout. You would think it would be more, but he's never been a starter, so he doesn't generate as many shutouts. And Drieger, 23 saves on 25 shots. Played very well. Drieger's a good goaltender. Tonight he just didn't get any goal support. None at all. All right, next up, Philadelphia and the Rangers. So of the two that I tried to call this morning, this one I got right. The other one, not so much. Now, what's interesting is I was thinking of Michael Scott when these games happen tonight because curse is broken, people. Yeah. So I'm not saying I ran Meredith over with my car and now the curse is broken by the reverse retros, but I'm not saying I didn't run Meredith over with my car. So reverse retro for the Flyers. I was like, so they may lose. I may be wrong. Early Giroux chance was denied. Too many Rangers on the ice. Flyers get a power play. Gustafsson had some really good chances that were saved, but after the power play's over, he scores from Gostisbehere and Giroux at 7:48. This might have been Ghost's best game of the season. May very well have been. I thought he was very useful tonight. Rangers didn't get a power play. They score on that. Special teams were huge tonight. Kreider scores from Zibanejad and Fox at 9:32. So Zibanejad kind of gets off the schneid a bit tonight too, and that's important. And Kreider, if you're looking for silver linings, Chris Kreider was that tonight. The Rangers take a penalty. Flyers go back to the power play. They make him pay. It's Gostisbehere from Gustafsson and Giroux at 15:31. So Giroux making his presence felt with 2 secondary assists in that first period. With 3:40 left, the Rangers get another power play. That's killed off. We would have 13 power plays in this game. So it played a large role in flow with this game. Second period, Flyers are 5-0-1 when they're leading after the first. So that record has now become 6-0-1. Power play for the Flyers. It's their third already, and they score on it as James Van Riemsdyk continues this amazing run he's been on. I think this is his 7th power play goal already. Farabee and Couturier at 4:05 with the assists. And yeah, so JVR, whose contract Philadelphia was kind of trying to get rid of in the offseason, and he's put up a bunch of goals. And you have to think he probably wouldn't have those with another team, but it's just one of those things, right? Flyers went right back to the power play. Then there's a delay of game. They have 1 minute and 38 seconds of 5-on-3, which is ridiculous. Gostisbehere's denied during the 5-on-3, and the whole thing was killed off. Then the Rangers get a power play because it's a parade. Power play goal for the Rangers. It's Kreider from Zibanejad and Strome at 8:03. So Kreider's second, Zibanejad's second helper. Strome on the board. There you go. There was then a 2-on-1 for the Flyers. It is defended by Fox. The Rangers were being stymied by Brian Elliott. Elliott, I thought, again, we're looking at goaltenders having decent games. That qualifies. And Hart gets the night off. I would assume Hart plays the next game. Things get kind of scrummy late. The Rangers end up with a power play because somebody ends up with a power play every other minute in this game. Third period, Lafreniere and Buchnevich with a 2-on-1. That was defended. And, Lafreniere, not on the board tonight. And then it's the hat trick goal. It's Chris Kreider from Lindgren and Blackwell at 3:27. So the Rangers make it close. It was 4-3 at that point. Elliott then denied Fox. There's a power play for the Rangers. That's killed off. 5:38 left. The Flyers get their 7th power play of what would be 8 in this game. They pull the goalie with 2 minutes left, do the Rangers. But that's your final score, 4-3. The Rangers drop to 6-8-3. The Flyers go to 9-4-3. So for all the complaining about how bad the Flyers were after the Boston game, a lot of that has to do with the guys that are out of the lineup. And just having Giroux back seemed to make a big difference. 3 helpers for Claude Giroux. And Couturier is back on the board, and he's back in the lineup. He, of course, returned for the Lake Tahoe game. So, yeah, big win for Philly. They outshot the Rangers the whole way through, 15-9 in the first, 14-10 in the second, and 10-8 in the third. Final shots, 39-27 in favor of the Flyers. Power plays, the Rangers 2 for 5, the Flyers 2 for 8. Shesterkin saves 35 out of 39. Elliott saves 24 out of 27. So, for Shesterkin, not the greatest defense in front of him tonight. But, that was a fun game, and as usual, the big scoring games are in the East and West tonight, because that's how it works. Because really, what we've been saying the whole season is the defense in the North is fantastic. So we'll go to the North, and it kind of felt like we might witness a repeat of Monday. We almost did. So the Flames, the reverse retros being worn by the Leafs. So right away you're going, this might be, but curse is broken, people. Matthews with some shot blocking, he gets stung on that. He'd stay in the game. But of course, if you see him get hurt and go down as a Leaf fan, you're like, okay, so that's not funny. There's enough injuries going on in the NHL. You got to get back up. Shots were 2 apiece through 4 minutes, and the Flames were off to another decent start. That slow start that the Flames have had going on, not showing up tonight. They'll play tomorrow night in Ottawa. They've got to avoid a slow start against Ottawa. Ottawa's got this whole spoiler thing down right now. Flames have got to watch that tomorrow. So power play for the Flames, that's killed off. The Leafs then get a power play. Levo takes a penalty. There's another Leafs power play. The Leafs power play continues to be a story for all the wrong reasons. It is something they need to work on, and they need to get that fixed. They need to get that going. No shots during that power play for the Leafs either. So they were 0 for their last 9. Good start for the Flames. Again, 2:48 left. The Leafs get their third power play, and in the last minute, Mikheyev was denied by Riddick. This is the best I've seen him play back-to-back. I really think that's probably the case. The best I've seen him play back-to-back. And it may very well be because he realizes this is his chance to potentially prove he deserves more starts. And yeah, we'll see how he does. Second period, early chances for both teams. Riddick stops Barabanov chance. Barabanov had a bunch of good chances in this one. Shots were 5-3 for the Leafs 5 minutes in. Some really strong play by David Riddick. Every highlight reel was just, well, here's more Riddick saves for you. Matthews had an end-to-end that was stopped. Tavares had a chance that was absolutely denied. He was robbed. Power play then for the Flames. That's their second one. And it broke up 3 straight power plays for the Leafs. And that's killed off. The Leafs press with 7 minutes left. Chances for the Leafs with 2 minutes left. And in the last seconds, the Flames had their chances as well. But we go to the third, still scoreless. Entertaining scoreless game. Not all scoreless games are created equal. Early push by the Flames in the third. That fourth line for the Leafs had chances 3 minutes in. Stifling defense by both teams. The Leafs get a power play, and it records 0 shots. And that's when you know it's in their head. It's when they go back-to-back power plays with no shots whatsoever. Shorthanded chance for Gaudreau. Riley defended that very well. So Morgan Riley with some nice defense on that one. The Leafs press with 5 minutes left. Barabanov has a break that's denied. And then it's Mangiapane on a turnover from Tkachuk and Lindholm at 16:33. And you're going, not again. And it felt like it was going to happen again, right? Because now it's 1-0 Calgary. There's 3.5 minutes left. That could be it. However, goaltender gets pulled with 2:20 left. And Nylander scores on his 37th shot. I knew he was due. Hyman and Matthews with the assists at 18:32. And then in the overtime, I had to laugh because the announcer said that they weren't sure why Nylander and Matthews were together. Like, why would they break up Marner and Matthews? And then they go, well, he did have the goal late there. And I'm thinking, well, yeah, he had the goal playing with Matthews at the end of the game. And then it's Nylander in overtime. So the redemption arc is completed. From Matthews and Hall at 1 minute and 6 seconds. And the Toronto Maple Leafs escape a scare. They win 2-1 in overtime. Calgary drops to 9-9-2. Toronto goes to 15-4-2. The shots in this one, 11-7 Toronto in the first, 15-11 Toronto in the second, 12-3 in the third in favor of Toronto. So for the Flames, they saved their bad period for the end of the game. And then both teams had 1 shot in overtime. Final shots 39-22 in favor of Calgary. Or in favor of Toronto over Calgary. Calgary not anywhere near 39 shots tonight. Power plays, Calgary 0 for 2. Toronto 0 for 4. Riddick saves 37 out of 39. He's the only reason this is close. And Hutchinson saves 21 out of 22. Not too shabby a performance for Michael Hutchinson either. A lot of praise on Riddick, rightfully so. But Hutchinson, his numbers have not been nearly as scary as some might have thought. And they get the victory tonight. So we'll see what happens before Anderson's back. But I think Hutchinson's proving he can be okay as a backup, which Colorado found out last year in the playoffs. That being said, I need to change boards. So, Anaheim sucks. And I'm saying that with all love towards Duck fans because I felt this. This felt familiar to me. And it's sad because it kind of feels like last night. So, the Ducks were good for 40 minutes. They were good for 50 minutes. Let's get into it. Ducks are fast out of the gate. They were ahead in shots 3-1, 5 minutes in. Power play for the Coyotes. They killed it off, no problem. Evenly played, both goalies playing well, chances for both teams late, and then Comtois with 12 seconds left. He scores from Hakanpää and Fowler, 1948. Hakanpää's first point of the year. Everything's coming up Ducks. It's 1-0 after one. Second period. Coyotes with some puck control, but they're not getting very many shots. So they had the puck in the Anaheim zone a lot, not getting shots. And then Mahura scores from Steele at 7:58. Now, that was the second shot of the second period, and Zegras almost tips it in. Almost. And initially, they gave him an assist. His family cheers. He's on the ice for it, so he's a plus for that. But the assist disappeared about halfway through the game, so I've changed the scoring to Mahura from Steele. They took that assist away from Zegras. I can only assume it's because his family's there. I don't know. Or he just didn't touch it. They wanted to give him a point, and they're like, he didn't actually touch it. Power play for the Ducks. Too many men on the ice call for the Coyotes. Krause had a shorthanded chance that went high. The Ducks controlled pretty well after that 2-0 goal. Interestingly enough, so in the last game, we talked a lot about all the power plays and diving here and there. There was none of that tonight. I didn't see any of it. Kemper held a chance from Shattenkirk to get a power play from the Ducks, and it scores. Yeah, Ducks power play scores. I was surprised too. It's Max Jones from Comtois and Fowler at 15:46. And then in the last minute of the period, there's a delay game call on Ben Hutton. So the Coyotes have a power play. But to start the third, the Ducks kill the rest of that off. So I'm looking at this and I'm like, all right, it's 3-0. They've started the third period. This looks good. If you're a Ducks fan, this looks pretty good. If you're a Coyotes fan, you have to be worried. This is troublesome that you're down against the Ducks again, 3-0. So Kemper exits and Hill goes in. And I didn't see that there was a replay of an injury or anything, but Aiden Hill goes in. Now, I've been a very vocal supporter of Aiden Hill's for, 2 years? Anytime he goes in, I'm like, I don't understand why he's not a regular in the NHL. I don't understand why the Coyotes haven't given him a chance. I'm not sure why nobody else has inquired about him as a backup, unless somebody has and we just haven't heard about it. I think Aiden Hill's a pretty good goaltender, and I've never seen anything about him to tell me that that's not the case. But they don't give, and I know his AHL numbers aren't good. Some goaltenders don't have good AHL numbers, and they're fine in the NHL. I've wanted to do a video on that for years. I apologize that hasn't been done yet. So the shots are 4-1 Coyotes at 8 minutes. And I put up on the board, Ducks look better than they did on Monday. So I put Ducks look better than Monday. This looks better. So yes, the Coyotes are getting the shots, but Ducks still look better. They were pushing back too. And at the end of this period, the shots were tied. But Pitlick scores from OEL and Osterley at 10:05, and you could feel it. You could feel it, and the Anaheim announcers, you could hear the uh-oh in their voice when it was 3-1. Then Chychrun scores from Garland and Kessel at 11:49, and I put up there maybe it's Monday again. That's what I wrote on the board. Maybe it's Monday again. That went in off Hakanpää. So. See, that's the thing. That puck from Chychrun, that was going to go wide. Went off Hakanpää and into the net. Because of course it did. He gets an assist in the first period, so he gets an own goal in the third to offset it. Yeah, 4-4 play with 7:59 left. Coyotes were absolutely buzzing for the tie. Once it became 3-2, you could just see it. They knew they could get another one, and they did. Kessel scores from Garland and OEL at 16:39, and yeah, underneath that I wrote Anaheim sucks. I don't know what else to write there. I don't know what else to write. Because this is, why are they at the bottom of your power ranking, Shannon? Because this is why. This is why Vancouver's down near the bottom. This is the problem. Then we get to overtime. Hill denied steal, and he robbed Lundestrom. And I put here, Hill is good. Prove me wrong. We go to a shootout. Guess what? Hill wins the shootout. Dvorak with the winner. And so for the Coyotes, they go to 9-7-3. The Ducks fall to 6-10-4. It's a brutal result for Anaheim. They are in the same boat as the Vancouver Canucks. And again, I feel it. I do, because this really felt just as bad as last night for the Oilers versus Canucks. The difference being, of course, the Ducks were expected to be rebuilding this year, right? But the names rhyme, Canucks and Ducks. So there you go. Shots 10-9 Arizona in the first, 11-6 Anaheim in the second. Both teams had 11 shots in the third. In the overtime, Anaheim outshoots them 4-1, but Aiden Hill was great. Final shots 35-28 for Anaheim. Anaheim's 1 for 2 on the power plays, and Arizona was 0 for 2. So only 4 power plays in this game. Completely different game. Ryan Miller saves 25 out of 28. Darcy Kemper saves 18 out of 21. And then Aiden Hill, in relief, cold, 14 saves on 14 shots. But I'm sure that months from now he'll be waived and nobody will claim him. And then he'll get like back-to-back shutouts. Next time he gets a chance, and then they'll waive him again. I don't know. I don't understand it. Next up, Minnesota. All right, so this is 4 in a row, and this was a very impressive game for Minnesota. Less so for Philip Grubauer. So let's go through this. Avs wearing their thirds. I'm not going to say they're jinxed, because thirds aren't jinxed. That's not a thing. We've been tracking reverse retros, right? The Avs press at 4.5 minutes. This was a fast game right off the bat. Power play for the Wild. That's killed off. However, Matt Zuccarello continues this amazing run he's been on since coming back from injury. He scores from Kaprizov and Rask at 9:44. That line is absolutely deadly. It's been fantastic. Post then for Kadri late, but it was a good road period for the Minnesota Wild. They established themselves. They outshot Colorado just barely, but they did. And they get the 1-0 lead coming out of the first. Second period, early power play for the Avs. That's killed off. But they get a second power play. That is also killed off, as Kakkonen makes great saves. Talbot was the backup tonight, and I agree. I think that Kakkonen's been great. However, they kept talking about two things. One, they talked about Compher and how he hasn't been scoring. And two, they then talked about how great Kakkonen's been lately. And I thought, okay, this is a bad mix. And then Compher scores from Girard and Taves at 7:21. And I was like, well, yeah, you kept praising your goaltender, because I was watching the Minnesota feed, and you kept talking about how Compher has been struggling. And there you go. Those two things clash. And, of course, Compher gets the goal, and Kakkonen lets that in. So it's 1-1. The Wild tried to answer. The shots, though, were 7-0 in favor of Colorado 9 minutes in. Yeah, this was all Colorado. And then it's Parise. He scores from Dumba and Foligno at 12:31. That is point number 800 for Zach Parise. 800 points. Very illustrious career for him. The Wild then get a power play, and then we get a minute and 41 seconds of 4-on-4. But the Wild controlled most of that 4-on-4. You would think the Avs, with the talent they have and a guy like Makar on the blue line, that they would control that 4-on-4. Not so much. Kaprizov then had a wraparound that was denied. But then, because remember, there's that short power play for Colorado. There's a face-off at the Colorado end. It's a shorthanded goal. During that very brief Colorado power play, Foligno from Hartman at 15:11. So Foligno continues his hot streak, and so does Hartman. Where's this Hartman guy been? Put him in the middle of the ice, and apparently he's a scoring machine as a center. The Avs then pressed with 3 minutes left, but we come out of the second period with it 3-1 for Minnesota. The shocker is on. But in the third, they mentioned that Suter and McKinnon had a lot of chatter going on between the two of them. Keep in mind, McKinnon was kept off the board tonight, so whatever Ryan Suter was doing to get McKinnon off his game seemed to work. So, good job, Ryan Suter, and I didn't see him in the box for anything he was doing, so that's not too bad. If you shadow a guy and get him chirping at you, then you're doing your job. And if that guy's not getting on the board, you're happy. Early Nichushkin chance was saved. Cole then guilty of a trip. The Avs go to the power play, which proves that Ian Cole at his heart is still a Colorado Avalanche member. He gets Colorado the power play. It's just, that's how that works. Double agent stuff. Kadri would score during that power play from Rantanen and Makar at 3 minutes. So Kadri, who's been having trouble with scoring lately, he gets on the board. Avs then pressed for the tie, and Colorado looked pretty good. And then it's Hartman from Kaprizov and Zuccarello at 11:56. Now, it was a filthy goal, backhand top shelf. But the pass was fantastic to the point where Hartman, when they do the line at the bench, he had Kaprizov go first, even though normally it's the goal scorer that goes first. He's like, no, that kid, you got me that. You take the line first. And then a minute and 3 seconds later, Nico Sturm with his first NHL goal from Bukestad and Bonino at 12:59. So this is depth scoring. This is scoring from guys who had been cold up until a couple games ago. This is a Minnesota Wild team that, as this winning streak continues, they're getting more and more impressive. And they're starting to get goals from places you don't normally see from Minnesota. So then the Avs pull the goalie because why not, I guess. And at 17:32, Nico Sturm gets his second NHL goal into the empty net. So he gets his first two NHL goals about 5 minutes apart. And Minnesota lays a beating on Colorado 6-2. Pretty impressive game from Minnesota. Gotta say, that was impressive. Shots 11-10 Minnesota in the first, 10-5 Colorado in the second, 12-9 Colorado in the third. Final shots 32-25 in favor of the Colorado Avalanche. Power plays, Minnesota 0-2, Colorado 1-4. I thought Minnesota was taking too many penalties and that they were playing with fire, but in the end, they win the game. Kakkonen saves 30 out of 32. He was great. Grubauer 19 saves on 24 shots. So again, if you're wondering why isn't Talbot playing, because this guy's good and you go with the hot hand. Dean Evison clearly believing you go with the hot hand. And for tonight, he's right. All right, that being said, last game of the night, LA. Make it 6. And if you're St. Louis, make it 9. So, really, like, you know, when I'm watching this, I'm thinking, really, again? So we'll get to it. First period, it's Peterson versus Binnington. So right away I'm into this because Cal Peterson is one of those goalies that at some point I'll have a Kings jersey with Peterson on the back of it because I will. I've been, again, very vocal about supporting this goaltender for over 2 years. Blues get a power play. Peterson was sharp during that power play as well. Shots were 4-0 for St. Louis at 6 minutes. So Peterson's keeping this at scoreless. In fact, the Kings' first shot was at 7 minutes and 36 seconds of the first period. The Kings were being outplayed early. Grundstrom then had a shot off the arm of Binnington. Iafallo was denied during a 2-on-1, and then Peterson robs Kyrou at the other end of the ice. So both goalies trying to upstage one another. Kings then denied a chance for Sanford. So you come out of that first period, it's scoreless, but St. Louis was the better team. And it's Peterson that's kept this thing scoreless. So we go to the second. The Kings have a 2-on-1. Brown shoots high on that. Power play then for the Kings. And then we get 1 minute and 33 seconds of 4-on-4 play. The Blues would control that 4-on-4. And the Kings would press at around 7.5 minutes. They pressured at 9 minutes as well. Or the Blues pressure at 9 minutes. Some great saves from Peterson, and then it goes the other way. When it goes the other way, Iafallo scores from Brown and Mata at 10:24. 1-0 LA. And it was a game that, to that point, I thought St. Louis was the better team overall. And then the Blues press with 7 minutes left. So again, they're getting pressure. Then the puck goes the other way. Athanasiou scores from Wagner and McDermott at 16:08. Nice pass from Wagner. Nice goal from Athanasiou. Maybe he's going to get on another hot streak. Keep in mind, he had a hot streak at the start of the season. He gets hurt. Hasn't done much since coming back from injury, but maybe now he's getting back into the swing of it, and that's his 4th of the season. Then there's a late Blues power play. Well, we know how the Blues power play works. It doesn't. So third period, Scandella got hurt. He was bleeding, and he makes his exit. He had his thumb up, so that tells me that he should be okay. He should be fine. Puck hit him in the face. It was a deflected puck. And that makes a difference because it means it didn't hit him in the face as hard as if it was a direct shot. But those still probably aren't a lot of fun, and it got him right underneath the visor. So with Scandella out, and with me just picturing Kings fans everywhere throwing their arms in the air and saying, of course, there goes another one. The Kings had a near miss at 3 minutes. The shots were 4-3 in favor of the Kings at 8.5 minutes. They were doing a very good job of killing off this game to that point. We then get a power play for the Blues after Blais got knocked down by Doughty. And when Blais got knocked down by Doughty, I started having this same feeling of, so Doughty okay? He was a little slow to get up. And then what was interesting was that power play for the Blues, the delayed penalty took forever. We're going to look back on this game, and honestly, the smartest thing the Blues could have done, looking at how this game ended up, cough up the puck. Because for 3.5 minutes, it was 3 minutes and 32 seconds is what they revealed after. For 3:32, the Blues had the puck. They had a 6-on-5. The Kings at least twice, maybe 3 times. They could have blown the whistle. They didn't. You could tell the Kings weren't very happy about it either. Eventually, Peterson holds onto the puck, and so they blow the whistle. But taking 3.5 minutes off the clock, that absolutely favors LA. At the time that this penalty should have been started, there was 7:20 left, and there's about 4 minutes left, a little under 4 minutes, when it actually is called. I had to laugh too when they said, I'm surprised the referee remembers who the penalty's on. Surprised he didn't forget. So that was insane. So they then go 6-on-4 with 3 minutes and 10 seconds left, because that's a smart move. Peterson robbed Hoffman, but he can't save them all. Not 6-on-4. And Sundqvist with a goal from O'Reilly and Perron at 18-14. So the Blues call a timeout, and they pulled the goalie again. The Kings weren't able to clear it, and then when they did, Gabriel Velarde hit the post. Puck comes down the other way, but there wasn't enough time left. So the Kings hold on. They win this one 2-1. The Blues drop to 10-8-2. The Kings go to 9-8-3. They've won 6 in a row. 9-6-3. Sorry, 9-6-3. They've won 6 in a row. Again, if people want to debate whether or not the Kings are for real, I went through this last year too when they won 10 out of 11 or 9 out of 11, and people were, oh, it's not a big deal. The Kings suck. There's still going to be people that think that right now, but between the Kings and the Wild, the Blues have to get smarter here. You've got Colorado and Vegas and Minnesota and LA all looking pretty darn decent, and so for St. Louis, and with all the injuries too, right? Things could get dicey fast. This is a very contracted schedule. So the shots in this one, 11-5 St. Louis in the first. Both teams had 9 shots in the second. Then the shots were 13-7 St. Louis in the third. They got the opportunities, just Peterson said no. Final shots 33-21 for St. Louis. Power plays, LA 0-1. St. Louis was 0-4. And again, that 3.5 minutes that they had the puck 6-on-5, and they just couldn't get that in the net. But they took that 3.5 minutes off the clock. It's huge. Peterson saves 32 out of 33. Binnington saved 19 out of 21. Gutsy win for the Kings. And again, they're in the win column. We'll see how they do in the next one, and for the Blues as well. So there you go. Let me know your thoughts regarding these 7 games from tonight in the comment section below, as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And at this point, we have 10 games tomorrow. Of course, the Vegas-San Jose game is postponed due to one of the members of the Sharks going into COVID protocol. At this point, it was one. I would expect it'll be others. They usually won't call off a game, or I should say postpone a game just for one person. It's usually that guy's in, but there's going to be others. So we'll see what happens. But I'll be able to report on it when it does. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will talk to you again soon.